Imagine this. You're sitting in your favorite chair, perhaps by a window on a quiet afternoon. The house is still. Memories of busier days drift through your mind. Children grown and gone, friends who've passed. A body that once moved with ease, now asking for gentler rhythms. A quiet ache settles in. That familiar companion, called loneliness. But what if I told you that this very moment holds the seed of profound peace? That two ancient traditions, one flowing from the misty mountains of ancient China, the other forged in the marble forums of Rome, have guided countless souls through exactly these waters for over 2,000 years? In the next hour, we'll walk together through the gentle wisdom of Taoism and the steady strength of Stoicism, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical companions for joyful aging. Tools proven by modern science to reduce loneliness, ease grief, and open the heart to unexpected delight, even in later life. If you're listening this morning with your coffee, or this evening as the light fades, pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. You're not alone here. Are you joining me in the morning light or the evening calm? And from which corner of the world? Perhaps a cozy home in California, a quiet flat in London, or a lakeside cottage in Ontario? Drop a simple greeting in the comments below. Good morning from Seattle, or evening peace from Dublin. I'd love to know you're here with me. Let's begin honestly. Loneliness isn't just an emotional discomfort. It's a widespread reality for many of us in our later years. And science now recognizes it as a serious health concern. Research from the World Health Organization and major studies across Western countries shows that approximately 1 in 4 to 1 in 3 adults over 65 experiences significant loneliness. In the United States, the Surgeon General has called it an epidemic, with rates as high as 35% among those over 60. In the UK, over 2 million people aged 75 and older live alone, and more than 1 million report going over a month without speaking to anyone. The consequences are sobering. Chronic loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 2650%, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It raises chances of heart disease by 29%, stroke by 32%, and dementia by 50%. It weakens immune function, disrupts sleep, and deepens depression. Yet here's the hopeful truth these same studies reveal. Loneliness is not inevitable, and it's highly responsive to inner practices. An 8-week mindfulness program at UCLA reduced loneliness scores in older adults by significant margins. Acceptance-based approaches, core to both Taoism and Stoicism, consistently improve emotional well-being and life satisfaction in seniors. Why do these ancient philosophies work so well for us now? Because they address the root, our human tendency to cling to what is passing and resist what naturally changes. In the original Taoist teachings that inspired this journey, particularly stories from the philosopher Zhuangzi, we find a beautiful parable that speaks directly to aging. A master carpenter walks through the forest with his apprentice and comes upon an enormous ancient tree, vast, gnarled, crooked in every branch. The apprentice asks, "Master, why has this tree been allowed to grow so large?" The carpenter replies, "It's useless. The branches are too twisted for timber, too knotted for beams. No one cuts it down. That's why it has lived so long. Zhuangzi tells us this useless tree became a gathering place, shade for travelers, home for birds, a place of rest and beauty. Its very crookedness saved it and gave it purpose. In later life, many of us feel like that crooked tree. The straight, strong timber of youth careers, physical vitality, raising families, no longer fits the world's demands. Retirement, health changes, loss of roles. We can feel rejected, useless. But the Taoist view turns this upside down. What seems like rejection is often a blessing in disguise. The crooked tree lives its full natural span precisely because it no longer serves old purposes. In the same way, letting go of former roles opens space for new ones. Deeper wisdom, gentler relationships, quiet contemplation, mentoring others from experience. A 2022 study on psychological acceptance in older adults found that those who accepted age-related changes, rather than fighting them, reported significantly higher life satisfaction and lower depression. Acceptance wasn't resignation, it was liberation. The Stoics echo this beautifully. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled, taught, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." In practical terms, when we cling to youth's strength, every ache becomes suffering. When we release that attachment, the same ache becomes information, a gentle signal to rest, stretch, adapt. One path leads to bitterness, the other to wisdom. Before we continue, take a breath with me. Notice how your body feels right now. Is there something you've been holding tightly? Perhaps a wish for how things used to be? No need to force release yet. Just notice. And if you're comfortable, share in the comments. What season of life are you in today? Spring renewal? Summer fullness? Autumn harvest? Winter rest? Your fellow travelers would love to hear. At the core of both Taoism and Stoicism lies a profound acceptance of impermanence. Lao Tzu writes in the Tao Te Ching, "When we understand that all things naturally rise and fall, we can allow them to rise and fall without interference." Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic, reflected daily. All things fade and turn to fable. Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. They were absorbed alike into the life force of the world. This isn't morbid. It's liberating. Everything changes. Seasons, bodies, relationships, roles. Resisting this truth creates suffering. Aligning with it creates peace. In aging, impermanence shows up vividly. Friends pass. Mobility changes. Memories sharpen in some ways. Fade in others. Yet studies on emotional regulation show something remarkable. Older adults who practice acceptance experience fewer negative emotions and greater overall well-being than younger adults. Psychologists call this the socio-emotional selectivity theory. As we sense time's finitude, we naturally prioritize meaningful connections and present joy over future striving. The wisdom traditions simply help us do this consciously, a real-life benefit. When we stop fighting aging, energy once spent on denial becomes available for appreciation. One 80-year-old participant in a mindfulness study reported, I used to dread birthdays. Now I celebrate the miracle that I'm still here, still learning. Let's move from philosophy to practice. Here are gentle, evidence-supported exercises, blending Taoist flow and Stoic discipline. 1. Morning reflection. Stoic preparation. Seneca began each day imagining challenges. What if today brings loss? What if health falters? Not to worry, but to prepare the mind. Practical benefit. Studies show this negative visualization increases daily gratitude and reduces anxiety when difficulties arise. Try it. Spend 3 minutes each morning gently acknowledging what might change today, then affirming your inner resources remain. 2. Evening release. Taoist Wu Wei, Lao Tzu advises, do nothing, and nothing is left undone. Before bed, sit quietly. Review the day, not with judgment, but with soft observation. What arose naturally? What passed? Allow memories or worries to float by like clouds. Research on mindfulness meditation shows 20 minutes daily reduces insomnia by 50% in older adults and significantly lowers loneliness scores. 3. The water practice, Taoist flexibility. Water is the Taoist symbol of highest virtue. It flows around obstacles, yields yet wears stone. When facing resistance, pain, frustration, grief, pause and ask, how can I flow around this? Instead of pushing harder, try softening. Real-life example. An 88-year-old widow shared how she stopped fighting grief over her husband's death. Instead, she allowed tears when they came, then gently turned towards small joys. Gardening, calling a friend. Her depression lifted within months. 4. Gratitude for the present. Combined practice. Both traditions emphasize living now. Marcus Aurelius. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Each evening, note 3 specific present moment gifts. The warmth of tea, a bird song, a kind thought from someone. Studies show gratitude journaling reduces depressive symptoms by 35% in older adults. Let's ground this in evidence. A randomized trial published in JAMA Internal Medicine found an 8-week mindfulness program reduced loneliness by 22% in older adults while improving immune function. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, rooted in acceptance principles, significantly improves quality of life in seniors facing chronic illness or loss. Longitudinal studies show older adults with higher dispositional acceptance experience lower rates of depression and higher life satisfaction. Neuroimaging reveals mindfulness practice thickens brain regions associated with attention and emotional regulation. Benefits that continue into later life. These aren't temporary fixes. Participants in long-term studies maintain gains years later. Loneliness often whispers, "No one understands." Yet in embracing impermanence and release, something beautiful happens. We soften toward others' suffering too. The crooked tree offered shade precisely because it stopped trying to be timber. When we release old identities, we become more available, better listeners, gentler companions, wiser elders. Many seniors report that acceptance practices deepen existing relationships and open new ones through senior centers, volunteering, online communities, or simply smiling at a neighbor. Remember, the Tao flows through all things. You are part of an unbroken current stretching back millennia and forward endlessly. As we come to the end of our time together today, take one more slow breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest, proof that life still flows through you, inviting you to flow with it. You've taken a courageous step just by listening. May the seeds planted here grow quietly into greater peace, lighter grief, and unexpected joy. If you have a story that needs a home, a memory that wants to be heard, perhaps a lesson learned through loss, a moment of grace in letting go, or simply how today's reflection touched you, please share it with us through the link below or in the comments. We would be honored to tell it, to weave it into future conversations, so others walking this path know they're not alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until we meet again, go gently, live fully, and remember, in letting go, we often find we were holding space for something even more beautiful.